Have you ever tried a trending marketing strategy that was working really well for someone else, but you knew that it really wouldn't work for you? Like spending hours creating that detailed, color-coded 90-day content calendar, but knowing you'd never look at it again? Or start a community where you'd go in there every day and do a live stream, and then at the end of the first week you just felt energetically drained? These strategies can be incredibly effective for some people, but they're really not for everyone. And sometimes we just feel like we're being stuffed into the same marketing box. But what if we stop seeing that box as something that traps us, and instead we saw it as something that we can reshape, we can repurpose it, or we can expand it to fit who we are? What if marketing isn't about forcing yourself into someone else's strategy? What if it's about choosing the best way to use the tools that are available to you? So speaking of boxes, let me ask you, when you see a good box, what do you do with it? Do you use it to organize and store things? Do you use it to build castles or boats with them? Or maybe you stand on that box to be better seen and better heard. Or do you use your box to collect cats? Oops, that's a real box, not the metaphorical box that I'm talking about. So what do I mean by your box, your business? I mean that you get to customize your marketing strategies based on how you naturally operate. And how do you figure out what that looks like? By understanding how you think, create, and connect with others. And the easiest way to do that is by understanding your personality type. Your personality type is like a starting point, but I want you to know that your personality type is not set in stone. Your personality, it's like an expandable container. It evolves as you learn, as you adapt, and as you grow. The key is knowing what energizes you and what drains you, and how to work with your natural strengths. If you're not familiar with the 16 personality types, they can feel like alphabet soup. So in this video, I'm going to break it all down for you, including how knowing your type can help you focus on marketing strategies that feel easier and more natural so that you can practice them consistently. And if you already know your personality type, this will refresh your understanding and it will help you use your natural preferences more effectively. Because here's the kicker. Most of us have been told to market ourselves in ways that don't actually match our natural strengths. It's easy to get caught up in the latest trends without actually considering whether they're a good fit for us. By the end of this video, you'll see why some marketing strategies feel effortless and others leave you feeling disconnected, frustrated, or stuck in inaction. And if you're looking for a way to put these new insights into action without the pressure of getting it perfect right away, I invite you to check out the Legacy Builders program. It's designed like a hands-on marketing internship, where you'll test different strategies. You'll see what works best for you and your strengths so you can refine your approach, all while building real-world experience. And you may even earn some extra money along the way. And here's the best part. You probably don't want to experiment on your own coaching or healing business while you're still figuring things out. That can feel messy and confusing for both you and your audience. Legacy Builders gives you a separate playground to practice these marketing skills in a low-pressure way. So when you're ready to promote your own offers, you'll already know what works best for you. There's a link in the description if you want to learn more. Now, let's get back to the 16 personality types. So what are the 16 personality types? The 16 personality types come from the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. It's a framework based on the work of Carl Jung, and it was developed by Isabel Briggs Myers and her mother, Catherine Cook Briggs. The idea, it's that people naturally have different ways of processing information, of making decisions, and of interacting with the world. And that when we understand these differences, it can help us to work within our strengths rather than against them. The 16 types are created from 4 different preference pairs, and these describe how we naturally operate in different areas of our lives. But I want you to think of these as sliding scales rather than just endpoints. Okay? And the beautiful thing is that we can each move ourselves along that slide depending on the circumstances, depending upon the situation, and depending upon the people that are involved in whatever the situation is. In general, I think of these preferences as our comfort zone, but we can all expand our comfort zone, right? So does that make sense? Drop any questions that might pop into your head at any time during this video into the comments. So as I said, there are 4 key preferences, and the first is how you focus your energy. There's introversion versus extroversion. So introversion, that first letter would either be I or E. This is all about where you get your energy and how you recharge. Now, it's not just about whether you're shy or whether you're outgoing. It's much deeper than that. It's about whether you actually thrive on deep internal reflection or external interaction. Introverts, they're energized by deep thought, quiet reflection, and solo work. They would rather have deep, meaningful one-on-one conversations rather than attend some big social event. They usually need time alone to recharge, quiet time. Extroverts, on the other hand, are energized by that social interaction, by discussions and fast-paced environments. They process their ideas by externally voicing them, thinking out loud, and they tend to feel more motivated, more action-taking when they're around other people. And as for the marketing impact between introverts and extroverts, they may prefer content creation that allows for reflection, like writing, like video scripting, or even structured presentations. Extroverts, on the other hand, they prefer that live interaction. They like workshops, networking, spontaneous video content. Do you know which one you are, what your energy preference is? Think about which situations leave you feeling drained versus energized. It's a clue to your natural style. And although it's not addressed in the Myers-Briggs assessment, I do want to talk about a category called ambiverts. You may have heard of this. Ambiverts hold that middle ground of the scale. If the scale is from here to here, they're that nice chunk in the middle. They're comfortable and enjoy those deep one-on-one conversations. And they also enjoy loud, crowded social events. Some people are ambiverts naturally in that middle, well-balanced area. But I believe that a lot of people are trained ambiverts. Because of their life setting, their life situation, their job perhaps, their family dynamics, they have learned the skills they need to function well and manage their energy well in that middle area. Although they may have a deep preference for more quiet or alone time, they do well here because they've found those pockets of quiet time. Or if they prefer to be really loud and they grew up in a family of introverts and people kept telling them, be quiet, they've learned how to really embrace those louder, more social opportunities. And so they have been conditioned how to manage their energy, but it's not something that naturally comes to them. The second letter in your personality type indicator reflects how you take in information. We have the sensing, which is S, or intuition, which is N. And this one describes how you process and interpret information. Do you focus on concrete details and real-world facts? Or do you prefer to look for patterns, possibilities, and the big picture concepts? The sensing type, the S, they're detail-oriented, they're practical, and they're focused on what's real and what's proven. They prefer step-by-step instructions. They trust hands-on experience over abstract theories. Intuition, the N, on the other hand, these are the big picture thinkers. These people look for patterns, they look for connections, and they look for possibilities. They enjoy brainstorming new ideas, and they often see hidden meanings or deeper insights in situations. And when it comes to marketing your courses, your programs, or your services, sensing types excel at clear, structured content like step-by-step guides, how-to videos, and data-driven case studies. Intuitive types, they love storytelling, visionary messaging, and exploring the deeper why questions in their content. So to know which side you lean towards, if you want to see the proof and focus on what works, you're probably leaning towards the sensing side. And if you love diving into the possibilities and abstract ideas, you're probably more intuitive. But again, these are not absolutes. Everyone has a mix of both, and you can intentionally seek to balance one end of the spectrum with the other. In fact, to attract more clients and customers, you'll probably want to incorporate a mix of both in your content. So have the details, have the data, have the logic, but also share some stories. The third letter in your personality type indicates how you make decisions. Thinking, the T, versus feeling, the F. Thinking, this is making the logical, objective, fair, using solid reasoning. Thinkers value efficiency, accuracy, and results over emotions. People who lean towards the feeling side, they make decisions based on personal values, empathy, and how their choices will affect others. The feelers, they prioritize harmony, relationships, and that emotional connection over pure logic. And this is important for you to consider, not just for you as a coach or a healer, but also how your ideal clients and customers approach decision making. Thinkers excel at results-driven marketing like data-backed strategies, frameworks, and proven techniques. Feelers thrive on relationship-based marketing, using personal stories, emotional appeal, and community building. Without taking a test, can you figure out which one you are? If you naturally detach from emotions when you make your decisions, you're probably more of a thinker. And if you immediately consider how your decisions affect other people, you probably lean more towards the feeling side. Now, when you're creating your content to attract clients, you'll want to intentionally add a bit of the other preference to your content. Because as I said, everyone falls somewhere on that scale. So just a little bit of emotion can help change that logical thinker's mind. Here's an example of how I used this knowledge of the personality types many years ago. I was presenting in front of a group of investment analysts, and I was asking them for pledges to support local community programs. Can you imagine which personality type these are, the thinkers or the feelers? So I focused my presentation on statistics about the impact these unserved people might have on the community. I talked about the programs in place to help these people. I broke down the cost to help each individual and the number of people in our community who needed their help. I didn't try to tug on their heartstrings. Instead, I focused on what I knew they cared about, the facts, the data, the strategies. The entire presentation, I was allotted 30 minutes. I finished up in 20 minutes. And the result? Pledges were up significantly. Significantly enough that my manager asked me what the heck I said to them. I knew that every minute they were sitting in that conference room, they were not doing their jobs and making money. I knew that they cared about the details, and that's what I gave them. Short, concise, clear. I made my point, I said thank you, and I left them to make their decision. Those types of results happen when you know who you're talking to and what information they need to make decisions. The final letter in the personality type indicator is how you approach life. Judging on one side, the J, versus perceiving, the P, on the other side. This describes how you organize your world and whether you prefer structure or spontaneity. On the judging side, they prefer order, structure, clear plans. They like setting goals, making lists, and following a step-by-step approach. Perceivers, on the other hand, they prefer flexibility, adaptability, and spontaneity. They like keeping their options open, experimenting, figuring things out as they go. When it comes to marketing, judges thrive with structured marketing plans like content calendars, long-term funnels, organized workflows. Perceivers prefer a more adaptable approach. They want to experiment with their content. They want to pivot based on real-time feedback. So can you tell from those descriptions which side of the scale you fall on? If you love having a plan and sticking to it, you're probably more of a judger. If you like to keep things open-ended, go with the flow, you're likely leaning towards perceiving. To be clear, this doesn't mean you actually do what your tendency prefers. I'm a strong judger type, and while I want to create content calendars, marketing plans, and standard operating procedures, I don't. There are other aspects of my personality that get in my way, and you'll find that that happens with you too. So, why does all of this matter? It matters because once you understand where you naturally thrive. You can stop fighting against yourself and start marketing in a way that actually works for you. Some types love following detailed, methodical strategies. These would be the INTJs, hello, that's me, and the ESTJs, while other people thrive on spontaneity and creative energies. Hello, you ENFPs and you ESFPs. Some personality types focus on logic and expertise, and others build their brand around emotional connection and storytelling. By knowing where you fall on each of these spectrums, you can align your marketing with your strengths, with your natural tendencies, with your comfort zone. And you can stop pushing yourself to use those strategies that feel forced, overwhelming, and that's what makes them hard. And let me emphasize that. You can stop pushing yourself to use strategies that feel forced or overwhelming or hard. Remember back at the beginning of this video where I talked about it being your box, your personality, and that the way you experience the world is an expandable container? Once you know what your preferences are, that's when you can start to appreciate that other people have different preferences. You may not get it, you may disagree with their way, and the energy of Caliwind, and you can decide to include those other perspectives in your content. Here's what I mean by that. If you love telling stories, start dropping in a few facts. If you love creating high energy content, pause for a moment. Share a reflective thought or a feeling around that situation. While working predominantly from the area of your strengths, you can allow that slider to move closer to the center and occasionally cross over it to share from like the totally opposite way than what you think. This isn't about forcing yourself to fit into someone else's strategy. It's about understanding your strengths and making small, intentional adjustments. This allows you to market your programs, your services, and your courses in a way that feels natural while allowing you to expand yourself, and it still connects you with the people that you want to serve. And if that breakdown of the preferences, if you haven't quite figured out your personality type yet, don't worry. You can take free personality type tests online. Just search 16 personalities or check out 16personalities.com. And once you know your personality type, whether you took the test or you figured it out on your own, come back and dive into the rest of this video series to see how your specific personality type influences your marketing approach. But remember, personality types, they are not a box. They're a starting point for understanding your strengths and your challenges. You are this expanding box. You can always develop new skills, and this just helps you figure out where to start. Now that you understand the basics of the personality types, the next step is learning more about the 4 major categories that those 16 types are broken down into. Because knowing your natural tendencies will help you unlock the marketing strategies that feel natural instead of forced. In the next video, I'll break down these 4 categories and show you how each group approaches marketing, so you can start aligning your business with strategies, content format, and platforms that actually work for you. Click right here to watch it now.